Welcome once again to the program. Got lots to cover today. In our first segment, it's our monthly chat with Mae Graves. She's a local real estate agent, guru in these things, to talk about just that, the local market and what's going on. Mae, good to see you again.
Thank you, Todd. It's always fun to come on.
All right. So first of all, let's talk a bit about some of the numbers. How are things looking out there? And actually, some of what we'll talk about today, we're going to talk about what the numbers mean.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, yeah, I like to just kind of give you numbers because, you know, the data, I wouldn't say I'm a nerd, but I sure like to dissect it a little bit to really see what's going on. So it's not just anecdotal. But let's start with Port Angeles. So Port Angeles in the month of June, we're already in, what's today, July 17th?
Yeah,
so
we're
this
halfway
is kind
through
of
July.
Old news already, but here we are. So we sold 45 homes in the month of June in Port Angeles. The month before that was 38. Month before that, 29, 26, 20. So you can see it's building, but that's seasonal, right? We're now in July. Days on market, 15, which is more than double what it was the month before, which was just 6. Median home price is up $479 in Port Angeles. So that's median. So think about first-time home buyers. That's a median home price.
Wow. Wow.
And then let's talk about over asking. So full price offers, 22 of the 45. So literally half of the homes that sold were full price or more. And most homes are selling at about 97% of asking. So that means half of them were full price or more. The other half might have been a little less, averaged out to 97. And then 17 of the 45 homes that sold in Port Angeles were to cash buyers. And we see that more, you know, in a market where interest rates are still a bit high. People are pulling their cash out of other investments, so they're not paying those higher interest rates. So for Sequim, 51 homes sold in June. And the month before that, 47. Before that, 42. So you can see it's climbing, but we are in the summer. Right. It's seasonal. Days on market, 10, up from 9. So about the same, still very good. Median home price, $590. So remember I said $479 in Port Angeles. So you can see it's more than $100,000 more to buy the same home really in Sequim. And then at or over asking 25 of the 51, so very consistent, about half of them at full price or more. And then 22 of the 51 for to cash buyers again.
Okay.
Yeah. So what does that tell us?
Yeah.
You know, I know I've been kind of saying all along it feels like a roller coaster. Really the last 2 years have felt, you know, we're up, we're down. Oh, it looks like we're, you know, the market's going to shift to a buyer's market. Oh, it looks like we're back. A lot of that has to do with, well, for one, politics, different things that are coming up, job security, but also the interest rates, because it does follow that trend. People are financing. And what we're seeing is buyers are kind of sitting on their hands right now, waiting for those rates to come down just a little bit. They're like, let's just hold out a little bit more unless they have to buy.
So if they have the luxury of some weight, they're not out doing much shopping right now, or buying at least. They might be shopping, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But if they have to buy one of those things we talk about, the diamonds, the diapers, deployment, divorce, death, if they're one of those buyers that are like, we do have to buy, they're the ones paying full price, right? The people who don't have to, they'll wait or they offer less.
So this interest rate thing, this has been very interesting because it's stayed it's not really done much, right? And that's played into what you're seeing.
Yeah, we'd see it come down just a little bit one week, and then next week we're back up. And I'm still hopeful that we're going to come down before fall. But, you know, none of us really know.
Now, we've talked in the past about this kind of a seasonal thing that happens.
Yeah.
Actually, you start to go into a little bit of a lull, right? If I remember right, after this month for a bit.
Yeah, so it does a little bit. And then September, it feels like the supply and demand, that we have more inventory, more buyers. In the spring, all those pent-up energy, the buyers, they all buy. And then there's this little lull. And then it kind of ramps back up before the holidays. However, I was just this morning, I subscribed to different real estate channels and listened to market reports. Well, I listened to a report this morning, local agent, it's been around a long time, and the headline said, the market has shifted. We are now in a buyer's market. And I thought, really? So I thought I better listen to this.
Right. So you think, I'm not sure. What are your thoughts about that?
I really think we're really balanced. You know, when we look at the numbers that we were just going over, We're still selling a lot of houses. They're still selling. So his whole premise was because of all the price reductions. So let's talk about that. There are a lot of price reductions, and it's not for any one particular reason. But like I was saying, the inventory builds through the summer, so some of it's that. But a lot of times agents look at the sold. So we're looking in the rearview mirror to see what's sold last month, last year even. And we're pricing the home based on the comparables that have sold. But there's so much more to it than that. We have to look at seasonality, not just sold, but kind of the 3 S's. There's seasonality. Is this the time of year that that type of home sells? And then supply. Are there 5 houses just like it on the market? Because if there are, and only 2 sell every month in that neighborhood, in that price, and there are 5, if you want to be the one that gets picked, it's all about value. So a lot of those price reductions, probably are unnecessary if it was priced right in the beginning.
Got it. I was going to say, how much is this is really correction and not, not that, oh my gosh, the market's tipped.
Exactly. Because you can see a lot of price reductions, and it doesn't mean that if we would see that they were not selling for a full price or over asking, we'd see a bunch of 80% of market or whatever. We'd see a lot of that. But I think it's supply and demand, it's seasonality, and it's sold, not just how many have sold, how many are on the market, who are we competing with.
All right.
Yeah.
I want to go back and talk about the days on the market number. To me, it still sounds like that's a pretty brisk market. I mean, even if it is 15 days on the market for most sales, that's not bad.
It's not. And if you compare median days on market and average days on market, those are different. So median, of course, we kind of throw out the top and bottom, right? Right. But average days on the market still hanging around at, I think it might be like 45 days, which seems like 6 weeks. That does feel like, wow, it's been a while. Like we've showed our house a lot of times. But some of those are sitting on there. Like there's one that closed recently that's been on the market for 1,300 days.
1,300 days?
1,300 days.
Oh, my gosh.
And you want to know how much off of the original asking price it was?
What?
$1 million. They lowered it $1 million.
Okay. So this is a special property, obviously, if it's been that long and it had that much wiggle room, so to speak.
It's special, but it was just way overpriced in the beginning. So it's been on the market since 2021 or something like that.
Okay. Now, as a real estate agent, you're looking at it going, well, here's a lesson. Right?
Well, I'm kind of like, I guess I should have showed it and offered $1 million less,
Yeah, I could have gotten that thing, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
What is selling right now? It just kind of from your perspective, what are people buying in our area for the most part?
Yeah, so I think that bread and butter price tag is right in that $600,000, but it's actually still, everything's moving. It's just moving slower. The luxury market is a bit slower. I think we sold half as many homes in the luxury market than we did the previous year, I believe is what the data was. So, and some of that again is, you look at a mortgage on $800,000. Your mortgage is like $6,000 a month or something?
Right.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's getting even for the those that are well heeled a bit of money.
Yeah,
right.
I heard someone say that, and I guess it's a thing. You can live on a cruise ship.
I know. I saw that the other day. I was thinking, okay,
is it
might give that a whirl.
$6,000 a month?
Yeah,
no,
right.
I'm like, hey, that's not a bad idea.
Right. The advice you have for folks, if there's somebody out there on both sides of things, give us the Mae Graves. What should a buyer be doing? What should a seller be getting ready to do at this point?
Yeah. So one thing what I'm seeing right now is I have sellers who also need to buy, and helping them to understand. Like they want to go look at homes and write a contingent offer. Contingent offers are still not favorable in our market. If we were in a buyer's market, you'd see a lot of contingent offers where sellers are like, yeah, sure, uncle, I'll take your offer. We'll wait for you to get your house on the market and sell it. We're not seeing a lot of that. So I usually counsel them to say, let's do one of two things. Let's either get your house on the market. We don't have to sell. You won't be homeless. If we get an offer, we negotiate and say, okay, we want to stay in the house for 60 days after closing so you can be sure to find a home. or rent it back, or you come up with a solution. Or we talk to a lender and do a bridge loan, a HELOC, a home equity loan, or just a conventional loan on the new house for a few months while you get moved. So I'd say if you have a home that you're thinking you want to downsize, upsize, right size, whatever it is, go ahead and reach out to me or your agent and find out what your options are to buy before you sell.
All right. Because so many people, I think, fall into that first camp, the old contingency offer. And I think that's just been a traditional thing, more or less, because buyers markets, I don't know, it seems like there's buyers markets are more frequent than sellers markets.
We've had a
historically,
yes, but we've had a good run of about 12 years, which is, if you go back and look at the headlines right before the pandemic, they were bracing for a crash.
Yeah.
They were like, all right, hold your hat. We're bracing for a crash. And then the pandemic happened and it was like fertilizer, right?
Yep.
And so we really kind of skipped that. But yeah, so we've had a good run. It's really balanced right now. We don't know what interest rates will do. That will determine it somewhat. If rates come down, we'll see another spike. So it's just been a bit of a roller coaster.
All right. Last question for you. Inventory levels right now. Is there stuff to see out there? I mean, we can talk about all these numbers, but your thoughts. If I come to you and say, hey, Mae, I'm thinking of moving to Sequim or PA.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
So it's little pockets. Some of it there's definitely plenty of inventory. It's not, I don't think we have a ton of inventory. For instance, I had someone that said they want a little bit of acreage. They'd like to do a mini farm. And so I searched and they said, up to $800,000, which I thought was a generous budget. There's like literally 2 homes on the market with acreage here in Port Angeles. So boy, that doesn't look like a buyer's market to me.
Yep, exactly. All right. Well, Mae, let's give people your contact stuff before you go. So if people want to know more.
I know. I always just say grab your pen or shoot me a text right now while you got your phone in your hand. My number is 360-461-1922. You can call or text anytime. I always answer my phone if I'm able. If not, I'll call you right back.
All right. And we've got her contact number here as well if you missed it.
Yes.
And Mae, we'll talk again in a few weeks, all right?
Thank you so much.
All right. Enjoy the lavender and all of those things going on, right? Yeah. Even Mae says she might be working during the Lavender Festival.
That's right.
All right. Mae Graves there. We get her in to talk about what's going on with the local market in real estate, give you some tips on buying and selling.